About speeches like that and about the Trump presidency itself, of course. But for more than a year, they've consoled themselves by looking ahead to the midterms, the 2018 congressional elections. And they thought to themselves, we're going to win big, or we're going to take back power. And they may. But recent polls show that Democrats' once massive lead is shrinking, and now to almost nothing. A new poll over at CNN shows that Democrats have only a 3-point advantage on a generic congressional ballot. Is this real? What does it mean? What is going on here? Tom Bevan, co-founder of Real Clear Politics, follows this stuff carefully for a living, and he joins us tonight. Now, what is this about, Tom, and is it real?
Oh, I definitely think it's real, Tucker. You go back and look in mid-December, the Democratic lead in the generic ballot, and that's the question. If the election were held today, would you vote for the Republican or Democrat? Democrats had a 13-point lead. As of today, it's down to 6 in our Real Clear Politics average. And as you mentioned, the CNN poll went from 16-point lead for Democrats 2 months ago down to 3. We've got another poll showing it down to 1 point. So this is real. And it is, just as a point of reference, in 2006, when Democrats won 30 seats, they finished with a 7.9 percentage lead in the generic ballot. And so they're at 6 now, and they need about 24 seats. So I think they're in that range where it's making them very, very nervous.
So Republicans in Congress have been assuming for months, I've talked to them, that they're going to lose big and that Nancy Pelosi or whomever is going to be the speaker. Now they think they've got a shot, but they're concerned about intensity. Voter intensity on the left is really, really strong. How meaningful is that intensity?
Oh, it's meaningful, particularly in a midterm election where it's all about turning out the base. And Democrats have had advantage in that. But again, back to that CNN poll, that was another finding that I think was disturbing for Democrats. They showed that Republican intensity is up now and was matching the level at Democrats. And if that's the case, it's not at all a sure bet that Democrats would take back the House in November.
This is all a little confusing, and Trump's personal approval numbers are confusing, given that the Stormy Daniels story, which is the single most important story ever covered by the American news media, I think we both agree on that, has dominated the coverage for the past 3 or 4 weeks, month, 2 months, I don't know how long it's been. That hasn't had an effect.
No, in fact, it's just the opposite, Tucker. Back in mid-December was Trump's low point in the Real Clear Politics job approval rating. His average was 37. He's now at 44.3. So he's gained, or 43.4. He's gained 6.5 points over the course of that period. And as you mentioned, the entire time it's been in the Stormy Daniels onslaught. It has not only has it hurt his numbers have been ticking upward the entire time. And again, that's something that, and you see Democrats now, you talk to them, they're now somewhat annoyed by this, because you talk to Nancy Pelosi and others, they say, look, this is distracting from our message. They want to try and get back to reaching voters. And voters have actually tuned that out now and are paying attention to the other stuff, which Trump has had a pretty good few weeks.
Amazing. Their message. We don't have time for you to tell me what that is. But I appreciate it, Tom. Thank you.
You bet.
Well, as you just heard, the numbers on the upcoming midterm election are interesting. The Democrats are still ahead, but they're not nearly as popular as they were 6 months ago. And that is weird. The president's still disliked by half the country. Congressional Republicans in the polling are even less admired than he is. So Democrats ought to be way ahead. And as you just heard, they're not. So why is that? Could it be that for all the problems with the Republican Party, and those problems are real, Democrats are perceived as even less appealing? Looks that way. The question is why. We have some theories. We could show you a million examples to illustrate this, but here's one from just yesterday that came immediately to mind.